Hello everyone, welcome to the video, and today we're going to be talking about how to play Psylocke. Psylocke is an assassin type character where you are going to be flanking quite a bit. In this guide we are going to go over all of the basics such as her abilities and how to use them, as well as we are going to get into detail talking about the playstyle, how you're actually going to want to be playing her to utilize her kit as effectively as possible. So I will be showing and going over some gameplay at the end of the video just to kind of highlight exactly how you're supposed to be playing this hero to get maximum value. If you guys find this video helpful or enjoy it in any way, make sure to drop a like as well as a sub to the channel. Help me out a lot, and I'll be making a lot of Marvel Rivals content, as well as follow me on Twitch. I'll put the link in the description as well as a pinned comment, because the best way to truly learn a hero is by watching someone else play them. Now going to show my stats on screen. At the time of recording, I had about 4.1 hours on her. However, at this point, I have over 6. Whereas it's not a crazy amount, I do feel like I have a deep understanding of how the character's played, just because of her similarities to certain Overwatch characters. You can also see my ranked stats. I have played 10 games, won 8 of them, and I've pretty much dominated in every single one of them, averaging over 25 kills per game. I definitely feel as though I can still improve on her. However, I feel like since the game is so new, it would be nice to put out a guide, especially if you want to learn Psylocke. I do feel like I have some valuable tips that could really help you. So now we're going to take a look at her abilities, and the first one is her left click. Her left click is basically a burst. It's hit scan. It's kind of like a shotgun, but don't be fooled because it does have quite a bit of range. It does tons of damage. Very, very good left click, very good damage. Now we have her ultimate. It is a large AoE. It will attack enemies one at a time and two-shot most squishies. It shreds pretty much anyone in the radius, and you can actually take damage in here. So one tip I have, which I'll talk about later, is utilizing your dashes before you actually activate your ult. And then the next ability we have is her shift, which is a dash. You get 2 of these, and the cooldowns of all of your abilities are going to be reduced based on how much damage you do. So if you're left clicking quite a bit and poking at enemies, then you're going to be rapidly recharging your cooldowns, which is good for if you want to make a quick engagement and you use one of your dashes to get in, you can use another dash, and if you do enough damage, you can even get a third dash potentially. We then have her E ability, which there's not really much to go over. It's just a short invisibility, and it will increase your movement speed for a short period of time. Then we have her right click, which is pretty interesting. You basically throw shurikens, they stick to an enemy, and then you can recall them. As far as I know, recalling them as soon as possible versus leaving them stuck to an enemy does not have a change in damage. Could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Also, once they're attached to an enemy, you can aim at another enemy, and when recalling them, it will hit the enemy on the way back, so you definitely want to get into the habit of that. This ability will also give you a small shield upon returning the shurikens to you, and this is very, very useful. It actually makes you pretty tanky. And then we have her C ability, which is nothing special. It is the team-up ability with magic. It is basically a shitty version of Tracer's Recall, where you get a small shield after taking damage and rewind a few seconds. I'm now going to be showing you guys the combo, which is going to be 1 left click, 2 right clicks, and then 1 left click. And this is going to throw out your 2 bursts, and then you will be sending out the sticky shurikens, and then immediately recalling them, and then left clicking again. And as you can see, the damage is incredible. And another thing that you might want to really try to do on her is going to be utilizing headshots. Always aim for the head. The burst damage is insane if you can get consistent headshots, and it's how you're going to pretty much annihilate backlines as fast as possible. So you're always going to want to be aiming for the head, and if you don't, then you'll have to utilize more dashes to finish off enemies after the combo, whereas if you just hit a few headshots, you can pretty much kill someone in one combo very easily and still have dashes and invis to get out. Another tip I have for leaving spawn, actually, and this is just a small tip, is that I use 1 dash vertically. You want to go dash into the air and immediately go into your invisibility and kind of animation cancel it. You don't want to use 2 dashes because then by the time you get to the fight, you won't have any dashes. So definitely don't use 2 dashes out of spawn. That's a big mistake people make. For her ultimate, you definitely want to pair this with a dash in the air. You do this because you don't want to get stunned or killed. There is a brief period of time in your ult where you are going to be just standing still and very vulnerable to getting stunned, CC'd, or just outright killed. So because of that wind-up time, you're definitely going to want to dash in the air to mitigate that as much as possible. Another thing about the ult is that you want to be aware of who you're against, so understanding matchups is very important. If you're against Mantis, for example, you need to be aware that she could sleep you, and that's why we dash into the air. But also her ultimate is going to completely cancel out your ultimate as well. Luna Snow is the same exact way, where her ultimate will cancel yours out entirely. Think of it like Genji Blade and Zenyatta Trance. So you're definitely going to want to bait out these abilities before you ult so that you can actually get value for your ult. Now we're going to be talking about just how you're going to be playing her. You're always going to want to be poking from an off angle. She does so much poke damage because her left click is so strong, and it's honestly a tank shredder. It does so much damage to tanks that you don't really just want to be diving backline all the time, whereas that's always a good opportunity, especially if you can get a pick on a healer. Taking an off angle and then just either harassing their backline or harassing their tank is always going to give you guaranteed value. And what's also great about that is that you can pretty much poke for free. A lot of times enemies won't engage on you. They won't really be able to, especially if you're with a coordinated team that's also pushing at the same time. But if they do, you have such good 1v1 potential and such great survivability and sustain that you can pretty much 1v1 any hero in the entire game. And poking will also allow you to build your ult charge very, very quickly. And obviously her ultimate is very, very strong. So getting constant ults is definitely going to help in team fights and at securing points and passing through chokes. So a lot of the time when you're playing her, you're going to want to be utilizing your invisibility to get into position where you can take an off angle on the enemies. That's the position you want to be in. You don't want to be directly on top of them because you actually do have quite a bit of range, like I talked about before, on your left click, so you can be a little bit far away, and you're just always going to want to be looking for that off angle, and that's pretty much going to be all poking. However, if you do want to go for that kill, you want to dive that back line, that is also a very good way of playing her, but you just don't want to die for it. You don't want to go too aggressive, but it is also a very good way of playing her. You can invis, walk directly on their back line, and if it's like a Jeff, you can pretty much burst them before they would even have any chance of reacting to it. You just want to make sure that you're hitting the headshots. So if you're confident enough in your aim that you're going to be landing consistent headshots, I say absolutely dive the back line, get as much value as you can by just killing healers. However, if you're just poking from an off angle, that's also a very viable way of playing, and you're definitely going to be getting a lot of good value from doing that as well. So that's pretty much it for today's video, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.